What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I'm going to break down what's going on with Tesla and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with the charts and answer the question, is Tesla about to explode or are we about to see some downside from here? I'm also going to break down what's happening with the news affecting the charts and some very important levels to watch for, and what's happening with the Fed's monetary policy and how this could affect charts as well. But before I break anything doubles information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 6 free stocks. If you deposit $500, you guarantee 20 free stocks plus 6 months of level 2 data. Putting in $25,000 or more guarantees you 70 free stocks plus 12 months of level 2 data. Now, the offer ends in just about 3 days from now, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with Tesla so far. So, looking at Tesla, the chart so far looks bullish as Tesla's continuing to hold up, outperforming SPY and the markets. That's why Tesla's price pairs ratio right over here is starting to go up. You guys can see it right here. It's a little hard to see, but it's starting to go up because Tesla's gaining some strength and Tesla's continuing to outperform SPY and some tickers like that. We also have a bullish wedge forming on Tesla right over here, which could lead to even more upside. This will be dependent on the news and other factors, also the market, but so far the technicals look strong on Tesla, and there's no sign whatsoever of this thing breaking down just yet. So we're going to be watching to see how Tesla moves. I'm going to be breaking down what could turn me bearish on Tesla, what's going to turn me bullish, some important levels very quickly, and I'm going to be talking about some other things about the Fed. But I want to first mention that when it comes to the data from the Fed, okay, here's what the market is basically anticipating. For January 2024, we have another FOMC meeting. The market thinks the Fed is going to pause slash skip. I would say pause is a more applicable term. And then for March, of 2024, there's a 62% chance that the Fed is going to give us one cut, a 25 basis point cut. For May, the market thinks the Fed is going to likely just keep things the same. And then for June of 2024, the market is saying that there's about a 50% chance we're going to get one more cut, and the Fed is going to do their second cut as well. So we're going to be watching to see if that ends up being the case. We watch to see how this ends up continuing. And the market's anticipating 3 cuts by 75 basis points in total for 2024. Now, before we get all excited, I know that's what Tesla is doing and etc. And that's awesome, right? For the short term, yes, the market could remain excited, but you want to be careful because generally when the Fed starts cutting, this is when the pain is starting. And this could be signaling a recession is coming very soon, right? We haven't really seen the true effects of it. It takes time. There's a big lagging effect from the rate hikes. So, what could be happening is there's a possibility, not a guarantee, just a possibility. The Fed knows a recession is coming. They're seeing their data suggesting it, but they're not going to admit it. They keep saying there's a soft landing on the table and this and that. Historically, that's what tends to not happen, and we're going to see unemployment start spiking up higher as time goes on. But I don't know for sure if the Fed is truly seeing it, or if the Fed just sees like more pain or something like that. But I do want to let everyone know that there is pain coming. We're going to see more unemployment for sure. And, with this pain coming, you have to remain strong. When the Fed cuts rates, this generally is associated with a recession, some economic turmoil. So we'll just see if that happens. For now, we'll see what happens when we get to March. But that's what the Fed is basically telling us. They're not telling us that there's going to be a recession. They're just saying that, things are okay, it's going to be fine, and they're just trying to keep people at bay, if anything. For Monday, we have housing data. Tuesday has some very minor pieces of data as well, and then like for Wednesday, there's not really much coming out. But for Thursday, we have more data involving the GDP numbers. And Friday, we have PCE data alongside the Michigan Consumer Sentiment reports. So Thursday, Friday are going to be data heavy days, and then Monday through Wednesday are going to be less significant. I also want to note that when it comes to SPY, we had a 471 max pain adjusted, a 5.18 puts to call ratio, which is insane. And check this out. 4.9 million puts out of the money, 123,000 in the money. That's pretty interesting. Most days we actually have high puts to call ratios, but on December 22nd, we have a 3.741 puts to call ratio. That's going to be important as well. We'll be watching for this as the week goes on. Now let's talk about Tesla. What's going on with Tesla stock? What's going on with some news? Tesla has another app release notes that has come out. So if you have multiple wall connectors, you'll now see multiple garages, one for each wall connector in the home section of the app. So a nice update just came out. You can actually track your connectors, which is pretty awesome in my opinion. It's also a car animation. While the app is trying to connect to your vehicle, you'll be able to sometimes see this animation of a blank car with a glowing effect. So some new features which look really cool. More cameras and live camera views. This has been adjusted. When you view your vehicle surroundings from the Tesla app, you'll have access to the left and right pillar cameras. That's pretty cool as well. Moving forward, you can see like more details about if you're charging, the rate at which your plan is, and things like that. You can select your rate if anything, and they're just really really cool looking quirks and improvements that have been made. After entering a location, you can now tap on Edit Trip to add additional stops along the way. So that's pretty cool. And there are other things you could do. You could even schedule the section to like leave now and just stuff like that. Supercharger locations now include photos of the location at the bottom of the listing. So that's even more useful so people can see them. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I just went over like the majority of them. Some things about the Cybertruck. I just want to mention this. The Cybertruck support has been added to the app in this update. There's going to be a 3D model of the truck that's going to be used in the app. I think this already came out, but it's just noting this right now. And you can add like points of interest and just mirror fixes and just really cool stuff. But that's it, guys. Some cool updates on the Teslas. I just wanted to mention this on their app and also for other functionalities. Very, very cool stuff. Good for tracking, looking at data, and etc. Now, I also want to call out that Deutsche Bank is giving Tesla a buy rating. They're saying buy Tesla. It's going to outperform the market. Wedbush is saying Tesla is going to outperform as well. Price-risk ratio is going up because Tesla is outperforming. It's doing very, very well even compared to the QQQ. And when it comes to seasonality, Tesla has a tendency of being green around 11 o'clock a.m., not to mention more green around 2 p.m. And then December tends to not be the strongest of months. I think we're going to have a decent December. January tends to be stronger for Tesla historically. That's going to depend on their numbers. We'll see how Tesla does when it comes to deliveries and such. So with that being said, the volume was 136 million, well above average, which is quite good. So now the question is, how is Tesla going to move? It's very simple, guys. My analysis is super, super simple, very understandable. I try my best not to be too esoteric. I try to be understandable so that even a child can understand what I'm trying to say. That's the best way to explain anything, right? Be able to teach it to a child. All right. So what's happening to Tesla? We have this like wedge-like pattern that's forming where Tesla's trying to break out like this and this, and we're going to eventually make an attempt to break out. As of right now, when looking at the chart, it looks bullish in my opinion. Looks strong so far. If Tesla can try to break this 254 range of resistance, we're going to be on our way to get very close to 258 to 260 and retest this orange trend line well above. However, hold on, guys. I want to note that SPY is looking kind of weak. Okay, it's looking a little bit weaker than the QQQ. The QQQ is being held up by some stocks such as like Nvidia, Tesla, Apple. They're actually holding up decently. Even Microsoft is at resistance. But if I were to turn bearish on Tesla, I need to see this thing basically lose this yellow trend line and eventually make its way down below like 247. That's support. Once we lose this yellow trend line and we lose like 250 to 247, then I can see this thing start to downtrend. As of right now, it hasn't broken even like 250. Okay, it hasn't broken below 250 yet, hasn't closed below that, hasn't even lost 247. There's no reason to be super bearish unless we get the confirmation of a break because Tesla is outperforming the markets. Tesla started to launch for many different reasons. I've gone over the news plenty of times on this channel, guys. That's why I just went over one piece of news for Tesla. We had some bullish news involving the Mexico Gigafactory. We had bullish news involving the Optimus Generation 2 robot. And then there was some bearish news involving the unions in Sweden, Finland, Norway, and also like Denmark, but not so much towards like Norway. I think it was more towards like Sweden. So we had some negative news as well, but that didn't really, stop Tesla for long because what happened to Tesla was we got this big drop way down here. Let me show you. We got this drop during the Fed day. Tesla sank really hard because they were grabbing liquidity at 228. They wanted us all to turn bearish. They were trying to grab these wicks right here, grabbing liquidity. People started selling. They thought Tesla was going to collapse. They launched it right back up. They were preparing for a launch. That's why it dropped the way it did. So, what's more probable for Tesla? Well, if we lose 250, I'd be a little concerned. If we close below that, and if we lose 247, I think it's going to sink more. That's the bearish case. The bullish case would be just maintain this current wedge. And I favor the bullish case right now. The green trend line looks more probable. Tesla's still holding up nicely. It could retrace towards the yellow trend line, retest 250 and bounce. It's continued to uptrend. We have a nice wedge forming from a technical standpoint. It looks very strong. I also want to mention that when it comes to Tesla, the PPO is looking bullish. We're still uptrending nicely. We could see some more upside. Wouldn't be surprised if we break 254 and try to push even higher. It looks bullish to me. However, be a little bit careful with SPY because on SPY, there's obviously a bullish and a bearish case for this. If you want to be bullish on SPY, we need to break out of this channel and start pushing back above 472 to fill our gap and start holding up above 470. That's the bullish case. The bearish case is going to be kind of like continue to respect this channel, at least for the time being. And we eventually make our way down to like 467. To see if that's going to happen, we need to see 470. 470 is very, very key. So I'm going to change the color of this line. I'm going to make this orange. I'm going to make this big so you guys can see this. The big orange line. You guys see that? The big orange line. That's going to be our pivot point. Break and hold this, close above this, I could turn bullish. It could push more. If you fail, we already failed today to close above 470. If we fail again, I'm going to favor the downside. I think 467 would be coming. Okay. Now, just because I say there could be some downside, that does not mean I'm a super, super mega bear. We could always be doing something like this where you kind of like pop here, get a little retracement like this, then we just like pop back up. That's always a possibility, guys. Just wanted to note that. But for now, we're just going to focus on what's coming ahead of us. And right now, SPY is looking a little bit weaker than before, just a little bit weaker. Okay. It is just barely below 470 right now, but the 4 hour is turning a little bit bearish. I'm going to be watching to see if we continue to sink towards our 20 EMA, which is going to be very close to the 468. If we lose that, then I can turn more bearish. So I'm going to be watching that carefully. Uh, I'm not super bearish on SPY, guys. I'm not super bullish either. I'm in the middle for the most part. I'm in the middle. I need to see how we end up closing on Monday. I need to see if this thing could try to break out or not. We're just barely at the 469s. We're not like super bearish right now in a really bad place. We are looking like we're about to turn. However, it does look like we're about to, but I'm not fully convinced yet. I need to see if we get the follow through move on Monday. Okay. For the QQQ, it's super, super simple, guys. QQQ is very easy to read. So on the QQQ, when you zoom out, it's so simple. Simple chart, okay? You have the yellow line. Look at the yellow line, the yellow trend line. This is, excuse me, this is our support. We bounced off of it, bounce, 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 bounce. We're continuing to hold this yellow line. I called this out today. I said it's going to likely try to hold it, try to uptrend. So far, we're continuing to do this like what this green trend line is showing us, where we just continue to hold up very, very nicely. So far, it's showing some decent signs of life. It's still holding up very, very well. But the question now remains, are we going to hold the yellow trend line? Because if we hold this, so far the trend is bullish. There's no sign of the QQQ breaking down and turning bearish yet officially. And as of right now, we're following this yellow trend line. So this green line where we're kind of like uptrending more is still probable. But I could shift my view even intraday. And in order for me to shift, I need to see this red scenario play out. Have to first lose the yellow trend line and eventually 404. If that fails us, I'm going to be watching 402. And if that fails us, once again, guys, 400 is coming pretty quickly. So watch basically 404 and 402. Do we lose the yellow trend line? If we do, I would turn bearish. As of right now, we haven't done that, so we just have to wait and see. I think I'm just going to keep the video short from here. I'm going to just like kind of cut it from here just to make this as quick as possible. I'm going to go over just a couple of others really quick. Just want to note that SoFi is about to get a bearish cross in the PPO. Watch for 8.92. The IWM is looking a little bit weaker. We have this gap to fill below all the way down towards like 193. So I think it's going to test the 20 EMA at 194 to 195 quickly on the 4-hour PPO crossover before it continues. As far as Microsoft goes, on the 4-hour time frame, Microsoft is about to test the 50 EMA. If we break 371.58, it could push higher towards 370. Let me see, 373.6 where this wick is. If it breaks 371.58, I turn more bullish. We break and hold it or close above it. If you reject off of it, I'm going to turn bearish. So we're just testing it right now. We're at the moment of truth for Microsoft. On Monday, we're going to find out. If it rejects here, it's going to be sinking back down towards 365. So watch and see if it can break that level or not. That's pretty much it for the main ones. I just want to note there's no sign of the VIX breaking out yet above the 20 EMA. Same thing with the SQQQ. But something that's ironic is that after selling off so hard, the dollar is starting to bounce. We're about to get a bullish cross in the PPO, which makes me a little bit more bearish on SPY. This would make me bearish if we get the cross when it starts pushing up higher. So just be a little bit careful. The dollar does suggest the market could cool off just a bit, but we need to see if it can break the 20 EMA. So we have to wait for confirmation too. I called out 75 on Alibaba. I said if we hold 70, watch for 75. We just hit 75.55 and we're still holding up. This would be like a really good take profit area. Not giving financial advice, but I'm just saying. But I just want to note we have this gap now that formed. Watch this gap near the 50 EMA. It might retest this and bounce. Hopefully, you guys, if you guys were playing Alibaba, there was like a nice setup. And that's pretty much it for now, guys. So I'm going to end the video from here. Please enjoy your Friday. Do what you have to do, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. I have a very, very nice treat for everyone for tomorrow. I'm going to be talking about some big plays, which are a little bit more different from what I typically talk about. Excuse me. So with that being said, have a great weekend. Remain calm, cool, and collected. Have a very happy Friday, and I'll see you guys very, very soon on the next one. Thank you, and peace out.